Yeah, Sniper Sports here, live from the 808. We shoot you straight. This is Joey. With me, as always, is Steven. And we got our Super Bowl 52 preview. We got NBA news, and even a little MMA, and yes, that guy Money Mayweather news. But first of all, Steven, how's it going today?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. As always, I'm ready to chop up some sports with you.
Absolutely.
A lot going on. Let's kick it off with the NBA, shall we?
I think the biggest news this week has been the whole Blake Griffin trade.
Last 48 hours, man. Big news.
I don't think anyone saw that coming. You know, a couple years ago, it was the last year they made that whole tribute to Blake. You know, he's going to be a Clipper for life.
Right.
I think a lot of people knew that DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams are maybe up on the trading block, but not Blake. Blake was supposed to be the cornerstone, and all of a sudden he gets dealt to the Detroit Pistons.
Totally caught me off guard, bro. I have to say, we can officially say goodbye to Lob City, right? CP3 left last year. Blake's gone. We're talking about moving DeAndre, but let's just stay with BG for a minute. And yeah, I don't know. Wow, going to Detroit. To be honest with you, Steven, I thought Clippers got the better of this deal.
Absolutely.
But I understand. I think it was that big contracts of Blake that they had to move, and now was the time to do it. I mean, to do it a year or two ago would have been more optimal, but I think they were still giving the Clippers time to see if they could maybe muster up a playoff push and challenge Golden State.
Absolutely.
They didn't, right? We saw that happen. CP3 left to Houston
Wanted to trade. Yep.
And that's it. Lob City goodbye. Blake's on Detroit. Clippers have some new faces, some new pieces over there from Detroit.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I guess we're going to have to see how this works out.
I couldn't agree more. I think the Clippers definitely won this trade. They got 2 picks. I think they got a first round this coming year and a second round next year. From them, they got Tobias Harris, who I
having a great year.
Could say one of their better players for Detroit.
Right.
They got him, and I think 2 other players. But I think the big thing for the Clippers was they cleared all that cap space with Blake Griffin. I think he was making about $30 million a year.
Right.
Got rid of
Is
that.
he making that much?
Yeah, the extension I think got him over to about a little over $30 million a year.
It was a hefty extension. That's right. That he signed just last year.
Exactly. So I think for them it really helped out, and I think it has to do a lot with the Clippers owner, who I'm very, I'm a diehard Lakers fan, but I think I'm kind of happy for the Clippers in a sense. They finally have an owner who wants to win. He's not going to pay some ridiculous luxury tax just because of Blake Griffin and what he brings to the table. Jerry West is there. I think he took over the GM spot, making the correct moves. But in that same aspect, I think that Detroit got what they wanted. They just opened up the new stadium.
Right.
Let's be honest. No one's paying big money to see Drummond, Harris, Reggie Jackson. I mean, you look at how many people were buying the Blake Griffin jersey before he even stepped on the court.
Right.
I think people are excited. They want to pack the arenas. They're looking for something to be happy about Pistons basketball, and I think they got what they wanted in Blake Griffin. So
I think they did too, Steven, and you're totally right. Let's not forget the this is entertainment, folks, and like you said, do you want to go to the Pistons game to see Tobias Harris and Andre Drummond and a couple of nice key pieces, or do you want to see a star like Blake Griffin? You know what I mean? John Legend's nice, but Bruno Mars sells out the stadium. So,
exactly.
I mean, and I think that's what you're getting here. I just don't know how. I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. I don't know how good that fit will be for Blake being in Detroit. Obviously, he's their best player, no question, right now. Reggie Jackson's been hurt quite a lot this year. We'll have to see how they gel. He's a pretty good pass point guard and he shoots that little running floater. But they're going to need some pieces, to even be competitive. But that is a weak Eastern Conference, and I think Detroit's a few games under 500 currently. So
they are, but surprisingly they beat the Cavs. But I think they may. Hopefully Blake will work out over there. I've said it ever since he was drafted. I think he's the most overrated player in the NBA. I think he just relies solely on his athleticism, which is, I think, diminishing. He never really had a post-up game. His mid-range game is just non-existent. He's just never really been that star that really worked on his craft. He just always, I can jump out the building. That should be enough. And I think having Chris Paul there where he just lob the ball and just do those things has just kind of boosted his ego. So
Yeah, and I honestly think Stan Van Gundy might be a good fit. Might be a good coach with him after all this stuff with Doc Rivers and, of course, the old owner Donald Sterling. And it seems like after that Sterling stuff, it just went downhill for the Clippers, and they just couldn't get back on top. They just couldn't get free of that. And so this might be a nice change of pace.
Exactly. But going back to the Clippers, I have to ask this question. You know, they made that move, which no one saw in Blake Griffin.
Right.
Maybe we didn't know about it. Maybe Jerry West was shopping him around. This is the best deal he could find, which is a great deal. Cleared up a lot of cap space.
Right.
Know? Talks about DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams be on the trade block, what they're going to get for him and where they can go. We see the Cavs in shambles. Is it Jerry West maybe trying to entice LeBron?
I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
And maybe, wooing him away from maybe the Lakers or maybe I feel San Antonio or Cleveland to come play for the Clippers. Hey, we got some young pieces. We got some draft picks. We can pay you the money. We can bring some free agents because we'll have enough cap room. Do you think Jerry West is maybe working out some...
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. All along, you thought this trade was about Blake, but it's really about LeBron. LeBronius, King James, coming to LA, the big ticket, the big show. Right now you have two LA teams competing for LeBron's services. We know he'll be a free agent next season, and by the Clippers recently clearing out their team. And it might not be done, Steven. The talks are they're going to move Lou Williams, who's having his best season offensively in his career.
Saying, yeah.
Also, DeAndre Jordan, who's been another cornerstone of the Clippers. So they're talking about moving both of those guys before the trade deadline shortly up here. I believe it's February 8th. And then also talks about Doc maybe not even being there next year.
I don't think he will.
So, yeah. Hey, LeBron, come to L.A. Hey, LeBron,
we can get
what
the
kind of coach you want? Hey, there you go.
Exactly.
Who do you want to get? Is D-Wade coming with you? You guys coming to L.A.? Your wife's to go shopping on Rodeo?
Exactly. So, I mean...
and then you still got the Lakers, right?
Exactly.
It's not just about the Clippers. Like I said, I think both L.A. teams are competing over LeBron, possibly. The Lakers have a bunch of young pieces that they can move.
They do.
And make it very attractive.
They do.
And being that Dan Gilbert has been rumored to possibly sell the Cavs soon, this could all be tied together. Once again, Blake being traded could really be more about LeBron coming to Los Angeles.
Exactly. And I think maybe this is what it is. And I hope Brown makes the best decision, for his career and for money-wise. I think we've said this before. I'm not sure if I said on other podcasts, but I know deep down, I think he's even said in some interviews where his dream or one of his goals is to be an owner of a team.
Right.
And I think right now is this time where he can utilize and make the max amount of money so that, after his career, he can go out and buy a team or be the majority owner at least.
I think that'd be great to see as much as he's done for the NBA.
Exactly. I think that would be a tremendous thing. And if he was able to buy Cleveland, I think that would just absolutely help Cleveland to go and play for LeBron James. How some people want to play for the Charlotte Hornets because of Michael Jordan.
Right.
I think that would just be great. So the only other team, honestly, Joey, I could see him going to is San Antonio. They have the money. I think they have enough pieces there with LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard, Rudy Gay, some other people the other young talent that they have in Anderson and Murray. I think that'd be another stomping ground, but I think deep down he wants to go to LA. I think he has two homes in LA.
Right.
That's where everything is in LA. So I do agree with that, but don't be surprised if he goes to San Antonio, people.
San Antonio, I mean, maybe, but I'm going to stay with the money, and I'm really thinking one of the LA teams, and if not, possibly New York. I just think LeBron, he probably has 3 or 4 more productive seasons left, probably 5 to 6 if he wanted to continue to play. He's in such tremendous shape. He's very young, 33, so I think that he could easily play another 5 to 6 seasons. Mm-hmm. And I just think that he's going to go to a big market. I don't think he's going to, it's not like when he was younger and he wanted to go to Miami to kind of be on his own and have his own team and be with Dwayne Wade. I think in his twilight of his career, he's going to make a business decision. And all indications point to Los Angeles.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that one. I do think he is, but I always look out for the underdogs and the Spurs.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
The reason why we're talking about this, the Cavs are just more in shambles. Speaking of Detroit and the Cavs lost to Detroit with no Reggie Jackson. Blake wasn't even on the floor yet. And I think they lost by over 10 points, I think it was.
Pretty badly. And you all know that Kevin Love's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a broken hand. Could be longer. You know, broken hand. I mean, you need your hands to shoot the ball. So who knows?
And I'm loving it for Kevin Love because I feel sometimes he gets mistreated, especially this year with all the drama that's been going on with the meetings with Isaiah and stuff. I think right now he goes, well, Isaiah, you didn't want me in there. You had some problems with me. Well, I'm out 6 to 8 weeks. Let's see what you can do.
Right. Right.
You know, Isaiah did tweet out. He said, well, if I'm not here to score, what am I here for? I understand what he's saying. That's basically all he can do. But you're not at the Celtics. You're not on a sub 500 team. You're on a LeBron team. So I just think you need to know your role and kind of understand what you need to do. And if you need to facilitate as a point guard, then that's what you need to do. But I don't know if that's going to help. He's in his last year. He's in his last year of his contract. He's trying to get paid.
I think IT's in a funny spot, Steven. I really do. Let's just sit back and think for a minute about the last, 12, 13, 14 months for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He takes Boston. They have the best record. They're the number one team coming into the playoffs. He averages darn near 29 points a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets hurt, right? He's unhealthy for the playoffs. Later saying he shouldn't have played, but he was emotional. He lost his sister to a car accident, unfortunately. His younger sister died in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really had a tough go here. Now he gets traded. After doing all that, he gets traded for Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Total business move. But you got to think for IT and a guy that's got to be an ego hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be kind of a mind screw there. You scored 29 points for a team in the previous season and they're letting you go. Now you're on Cleveland with LeBron. You're trying to figure it out. You're trying to fit your place in. See where you fit in. LeBron handles the ball a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah's used to handling the ball. They're moving pieces around. They're
Mm-hmm.
really weak on defense. So they, Tyronn Lue just doesn't seem like he knows which way is up with that team. So, but I want to stick to IT. He just, I guess what I'm saying is I'm giving him a little slack here. He's had a tough year, and I don't think he's realized exactly where he's at with that team. So, with that being said, yeah, Cleveland's a mess, which even more points to LeBron, ditching that team.
Absolutely, and commenting on your Isaiah Thomas, I think he just came in with the wrong attitude in a sense where, hey, I'm going to prove Boston wrong for trading me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. We're not realizing where he's at and the role that he needs to play. But yet, I mean, like I said, do I blame him? No. He has that chip on his shoulder. This is his last year in the contract. He wants to get paid. He's trying to show that he's still that superstar that he was in Boston. And I think right now, right now
he's not even 100% healthy.
I don't think he is, and
if he is, I really see a difference in his game.
I think so, and I just think I think right now Cleveland's missing Kyrie, just because he brought something to the table that Isaiah just can't really bring, and some nights we need like Kyrie to score 40 points, some nights we don't. And with Isaiah, he's just trying to shoot, he's trying to score, he's trying to show something, and I think what's hurting him is just he's trying too hard as well. It just seems whenever he's on the floor, he's trying to score, he's trying to do this, where instead of him just go with the flow and facilitate the ball, he's going to get his shots. LeBron's going to look for him. He's just trying way too hard, and I think a lot of his teammates are just getting frustrated and fed up with him, like, hey, pass us the ball. This is not Boston. In Boston, you're the main guy. You're basically the main and only scorer, really, against Horford and maybe Crowder. I just think he needs to understand his position, and I think maybe he will. But like I said, the whole contract of him getting paid, will he accept that role?
And I think that's the coach's job ultimately to figure that out. I mean, I know that's stating the obvious, but Tyronn Lue's got to take some responsibility here and figure this out. Another thing is, to defend Isaiah Thomas, he wouldn't really feel a need to score this much if the other guys were contributing more. I mean, J.R. Smith's been hot and cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go all the way down the list. Kyle Korver not being utilized right. All the supporting pieces for LeBron James. Kevin Love was playing great before he got injured, but he's out now. And, so there's some holes to fill. There's some gaps there. Tristan Thompson was riding the bench the majority of the year until just recently. Channing Frye had 20 points the other night.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting some minutes, so it's really up to the coach to figure it out.
And I think he's trying to. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of people getting those extra playing times with the Cavs. But I think like how Ty Lue said in a couple weeks ago, everyone needs to forget about their agendas, and I think he was talking about those people. Maybe a J.R. Smith, he has his own agenda. You know,
Right.
Tristan Thompson, maybe they should need to ship him out to L.A. and not to the Lakers. You can ship him off to the Clippers, so he can be next to his wife all the time, or girlfriend, whatever she is. You know, the Kardashian curse is real, my people.
It's real. Stay
you know,
clear, my brothers.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, I mean, leading what we've talked about, Cavs are in shambles. I don't know if they can do anything to fix it. They need to do a spring cleaning and just clear out that house.
I think so.
I know I've heard some people say, like, oh, things are going to work out. I just don't think so. I don't think they are. And that's why LeBron's going to leave this coming year, whether it be to L.A. Or someplace else. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see how that unfolds. But sticking with the NBA, a couple guys that are figuring it out and doing it right. James Harden, my friend, went for 60 last night against Orlando and getting a triple-double. 60 points. I believe it was 10 rebounds and 11 assists.
Yep.
I don't know what you think, but I think he's the MVP so far this year. I think there's no question he's the MVP. We just talked about how LeBron James and the Cavs are in shambles. And nobody has, you know, been more consistent as far as an offensive weapon and a pillar for that team than James Harden.
I totally agree. I don't think there's any question that he is the MVP. He's having another stellar career, like how he stellar season.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he did last year. The game last night, I have mixed feelings about it. People can call me picky, whatever. Just because it was against Orlando. I know he wasn't playing with Chris Paul and Gordon. That's why he had to score so much. They did barely come out to win, but I know he didn't have the whole firepower there. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, who does Orlando really have? I mean, Elfrid Payton was playing, but I think his hair gets in the way half the time playing defense. I don't think Aaron Gordon was playing, or a couple other people were playing. So, I mean, I'm not taking anything away. Great performance, 60 points. Whether you're playing Orlando Magic or not, putting up 60 points is amazing nonetheless, and getting a triple-double. I don't know, folks. I still don't know if Houston can beat Golden State is what I'm definitely trying to say. But I think that if Harden is not a unanimous MVP this year, I think people are just blatantly just crazy.
And I hear what you're saying, it's Orlando, but I got to stick with, hey, man, I don't care who it is in the NBA. You put up 60 points on a professional basketball team in the NBA, you can play. It's serious. You know what I mean? And it's not like he did this. They knew he was hot and they couldn't stop him. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment. 60 points, that's hard to do. Speaking of a lot of points, C.J. McCollum, the Portland Trailblazers tonight, went for 50, Stephen, on 25 shots. That brother was red hot.
I think, to me, that's a little more impressive than James Harden's.
He had 28 in the first quarter tonight.
Yeah, just because of how well he shot the ball. I know I'm not saying Harden didn't shoot the ball well, but to score 50 points in 3 quarters, I mean, that's like Kobe-ish numbers, you know.
Absolutely.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And to do it on 25 shots, that's
ridiculously hot.
Exactly. I mean, you basically have to go almost like 20 for 25. I'm assuming.
To say he was in the zone is an
exactly.
understatement.
To just only shoot 25 shots and make that, man, that to me that's very impressive. You know, but hey, C.J. McCollum, wow,
definitely deserves a shout out.
And then
on more of a somber note, unfortunately, we had a death in the NBA today. It was very tragic. Rasul Butler, 14-year veteran in the NBA, 38-year-old Rasul Butler, probably best known for his championship run with the Miami Heat, passed away. Him and his wife were in a one-car accident in Studio City early this morning, and just unfortunate. You know, tragic. It's just really tragic whenever you lose someone like this, and all of a sudden, and of course, way too young. His wife was a singer on American Idol, and just want to give them a shout out and an RIP to Rasul Butler and his wife. Very unfortunate.
Absolutely, very sad to hear that. It's kind of crazy to think, I guess, Joey, just because he's a year older than me. I think he's about 37 or same age, or just he's going to turn 39.
I think he was 38.
Yeah, 38. So it's about a year older than me. Kind of just crazy to think how you know, life can be taken away that quickly. So yeah, very sad for him and his family and his wife. Condolences to all of them. So Very sad note.
No doubt.
But one quick thing, Joey. I know we just kind of got off that somber note, but before we finish basketball,
Okay.
I gotta ask you about an injury. Good old Boogie Cousins.
Oh,
Achilles.
that's right.
With the Achilles.
I know we're backtracking a little bit. Boogie
Yeah.
was hurt a little, maybe what, a week ago?
Around there. You know, if there was any other injury with the knee, shoulder, anything else, I think it would be okay. But the Achilles, you know, him being a big guy, him being more of a versatile big guy now, shooting the threes, able to drive the basketball. Man, I really don't. I hope he comes back. It's just, you know, we've seen cases like this. Even Kobe looked okay with after his Achilles, but he wasn't the same. Of course, his older
Not the
age.
same. Of course, that's, not really comparing apples to
Yeah.
apples, given Kobe's age.
You know, Rudy Gay came back from Achilles. He's playing all right. So hopefully he can come back all right. But
But I know what you mean. It's not so much the age, it's just the fact that DeMarcus Cousins is a big man. And this is a very serious injury, probably one of the most serious to get over. And it's going to be a hard road physically and also mentally. I remember Kobe touching on how tough it was mentally. This is like an 8-9 month rehab, man.
yeah,
And Boogie
at
Cousins
best.
is a big guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's really got to get that thing, A-okay before he gets back on the court.
Exactly. But I guess my big question is, what happens now with free agency? You know, like, is Anthony Davis going to stay with the Pelicans? Is he going to leave? I think he leaves. I think he's just tired of that team. They really haven't found anyone to attract him to come to the Pelicans.
Right.
I think he's out. I just think, at least with Boogie there, they had opportunities to win games. He was hot. AD was hot. You had Bledsoe and, Rondo there that could help spark some offense, maybe some defense. But I think with Boogie out, I think he's up.
New Orleans is in the Western Conference, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, they're in the West. Well, San Antonio looks like, San Antonio. Golden State looks like nobody's beaten them this year. So with that being said, I don't think New Orleans needs to panic and blow up their team unless they think that this is going nowhere with Boogie and Anthony Davis. Like you said, they haven't been able to attract other talent there. I mean, they picked up Rondo, but come on, that's,
Yeah.
So with that being said, unless they want to really blow up that team, there's no really need to move quickly. I think you let Boogie rehab. I'm not sure where he goes, that he makes them a contender right away. And first of all, we need to see how he looks when he comes back. But as far as Anthony Davis, I know there's some talks of him going to the Celtics. I'm not sure if that's still a possibility. But I don't know, Steven. I'm kind of a fan and, not being so trade happy. Sometimes you got to trust the process and build chemistry around players. And it's really about a good fit. Much like any job is, really.
Absolutely.
Athletics are no different. A good fit is a good fit. Sometimes you have a good job that pays you well, but it just wasn't a good fit for a multitude of reasons. And I think basketball's no different.
Absolutely. I guess my whole thing is, does Anthony Davis still want to be there? It's one thing
Right.
for the team not to trade you and blow up the team, and I'm not saying that they want to do that. I think AD is just their main attraction, and he can win you some games. What I'm saying is, does he want to be there? Does he want to continue to play for a team that maybe doesn't have the tools to even contend with a Houston or with a San Antonio? Or maybe if he goes to the Celtics, he can contend. He can come out of the East and maybe try to play the Warriors in the finals or Houston or whoever it may be. And that's my whole thing that I'm talking about. Like, maybe does AD want out more than the team blowing up? I don't think they want to. I think they want to wait. It's just more what does...
I don't know. That's a good question. I really haven't heard anything from AD or his agent.
Well, also, isn't Boogie Cousins a free agent after this year as well?
I believe so.
So, I mean, that an interesting...
Yeah, when he said he was going to New Orleans, he didn't commit to long term. Although he said he loved it there, he wasn't going to commit long term. He wanted to weigh his options.
Exactly.
And same thing with Anthony Davis. So I think we can collectively agree that his best years are still ahead of him. So whether he wants to be that guy that goes to a team and get paid, or does he want to go to a contender and fit in, I'm not sure. Or does he want to stay in New Orleans and just make that his team and him home?
Yeah.
His home, much like Westbrook did in OKC. So I don't know. I wish I had him on. I wish I had his number. I could ask him. But I'm not sure which way he's going to lean. Young man's got a lot of options and a bright future, to say the least.
Well, yeah, I mean, continuing on from basketball, moving on to some football. First, we're going to talk about that trade. It hasn't happened yet. It's not official. But my Redskins have finally got rid of Kirk Cousins, people.
That's it.
I'm a big smile on my face. Not that I'm a bit. I don't like Kirk Cousins. I've been very critical on the show about him. But I'm happy they're kind of definitive. If they want to pay him the money, whatever the case may be. But basically, it's not final until March 14th. But we've traded for Alex Smith.
Smith.
I'm really happy with him. I think he's not a quarterback that's gonna, this year he did throw for like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns some games, but I think he's gonna not turn over the ball so much, and I think he's gonna give our defense some opportunities to really make some plays on defense. And to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of times where Kirk Cousins didn't show up in games. He didn't show up. And it was games where he should have won.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's always hard. He goes up to Seattle, and he's out 4 offensive linemen. I think Jake Reed was out. I think
We talked about that right on Sniper Sports.
Exactly. And he goes up there and beats Seattle at home. That's amazing. But then the next week he'll play like some lonely Giants or something, or somebody else, and just look horrid.
Right. I know there was one game this year where he had a couple opportunities in the fourth quarter, and all they needed was a score, and he came up short. So I agree. But more importantly, Steven, you're getting a quality quarterback in Alex Smith. I mean, this guy had the number one.
Are you saying that Alex
Smith
is
a
quality quarterback?
He's a quality quarterback. This guy had the number one QBR in the league this year. Okay.
What happened to Joey? Nine months ago.
We're not backtracking. We're talking about
9
today.
months ago. This man was hating on Alex Smith. He was ready to bench him and put him a home already, and now he's saying that Alex Smith is a quality.
Steven here, he's never going to let me live that down. It's the beginning of the football season. Yes, I did say it. I said Alex Smith is pedestrian. He's conservative.
I'm glad we're recording this.
And Kansas City, they're not going to get any farther with him. But you know what? I wasn't wrong about that. He wasn't taking them anywhere.
That's true.
I'm just saying, hey, the first 8 games of this season, Alex Smith was your MVP, was he not?
He was.
He was. He had the best QBR in the league. And this is really what you're getting, not only the stats, and of course he controls the ball, doesn't turn it over. The Redskins are going to get a winning mentality. This guy knows how to win football games, Steven, and he's going to bring a winning mentality to Washington. And, I mean, come on. My other question is Jay Gruden. I've told you all year, I don't know if I'm sold on that coach. I don't know what way to feel about Jay Gruden. But Alex Smith, good trade for Washington. You guys did have to give up one of your better corners in Fuller and send him to KC. So maybe that's something you want to address through the draft. You still got Norman on the other side. But yeah, I would say this makes Washington at least 3 wins better, if not 4, and really challenges. But he's in a tough division, man. You got to play Philly and Dallas.
That's
tough division.
I mean, I think with Philly, Dallas sorting their stuff out, and we'll see how that goes. Giants figuring it out. I think Philly's the only real thing. The one thing I do hope is different is that Jay Gruden believes in Alex Smith. He's got a quarterback where he believes in him. He feels confident in his set skill for the type of offense that he wants to run, or what he wants to do with the team. I never felt that he had that with Kirk Cousins or even RG3. So if that's the case where he wanted Alex Smith and he was able to obtain Alex Smith, I'm all but very happy for him, and finally having a quarterback coach where they believe in each other. I think you've seen that throughout the league in Philly, in LA, where even in Green Bay, you see the coach and the quarterback when they're on the same page and they understand each other. There's a lot of success. So I'm hoping that that's what comes out of this trade.
And the last thing I will say about this trade, Steven, I think that the Chiefs, they did the right thing. They trade Alex Smith, they get some value for him, they get a corner, right? And they trade him at the right time. I mean, I think he's 34. He still has a few productive years left, and he's really at his height as far as is his demand. He had such a good year this year, like I said, MVP through the first 8 games. But what it says a lot about Pat Mahomes. I think Kansas City's impressed with him, and they're ready for him to take the wheel, and he's inheriting a very good team. Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, the number 1 rusher in the NFL, a very good defense, Andy Reid, a veteran coach.
Kelsey.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey, probably him and Gronk, the best tight ends of this year, no question. So yeah, he's getting a great team. I just wanted to mention that. It really says a lot about Patrick Mahomes, and I think expect
and I think it's a good testing right
Yeah.
now for Mahomes because there's no excuses in a sense. You know, you have a good running game. The offensive line is pretty good. You have Ware coming back. You have a dual-threaded running back. You had Tyreek Hill, and you have a very good tight end that you can rely on.
Don't forget about Justin Houston on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have a good defense. So I think now is a perfect time where, like, okay, if you're going to amount to anything, the next 2 years, you need to show us something because it's not we're rebuilding. We're just putting you into a system where you've had a whole year to look on the sidelines. You've had a whole year to kind of understand the playbook. Now this is your team. Let's see what you can do.
I'm going to have my eye on him in the preseason, I'll tell you that.
Exactly. So I think it's a great move by KC. And if he does work out, you get a quarterback from the future. I know Hill is still young. Hunt is still young.
Oh, yeah.
Kelsey's still pretty young as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have,
Even Eric Berry, I think he's 29, coming off that Achilles.
Exactly.
Yeah, you get a very good team in place.
Exactly.
Well, sticking with football, it's the last week of the season. We're just a few days away from the Super Bowl.
Well,
and we were going to get there.
I was going to ask about Kirk Cousins. And where does he think he goes now? I mean, do you think...
Okay.
If you're Kirk Cousins, I mean, you got paid about $50 million the last 2 years. Do you go somewhere where you can make more money? Or do you go to some place maybe where you fit in more and you are able to win a championship or win a game or go to the playoffs more consistently? If you're Alex Smith, what do? Do you go to some place like the Browns that maybe have a lot of cap room, they can pay you, New York? Or do you go someplace maybe where you can be better at it?
I'll tell you, Steven, there's no question. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I go to somewhere where I can be better. Okay, you've already replaced me with Alex Smith, and I don't blame Washington for that. But if I'm Kirk Cousins, and I'm confident in my skills, and I'd say he's a top 12 quarterback in the league, I go to a good spot, and I'll tell you where I think he should go. I go with John Elway in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
That's a team in place that already has a really good defense, a pretty decent running back, some quality receivers, and more importantly, just an organization that I believe is committed to winning and is committed to having a championship brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best spot for Kirk Cousins. Look, he already got paid 2 years in a row being with Washington.
Yep.
They replaced him with Alex Smith. I think it could only hurt his career if he tries to put a Band-Aid on a bad team and just get them a few more wins, and at the end of the day, or the end of the season rather, still remains mediocre or below 500. That's going to hurt his brand. I think he has to go to a good team. I think Denver's the place for him, and a close second would be Arizona with Carson Palmer retiring recently.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I remember you texted me about where I think or he would go. I think my top 3 teams was Cleveland, Broncos, and the Cardinals. I think if he goes to New York, he's just trying to get paid. I don't really think there's anything there in any aspect. I know the defense is pretty good, but then again, I feel you're playing in a pretty tough division. Tom Brady's still there. I know people say, well, in 5 years he won't be. Who knows right now? I think Buffalo's defense is really well. They got a great running back. Tyrod Taylor, I think, is a pretty decent quarterback. If they can find some receivers, and Kelvin Benjamin can step up his game, I think they're a team to be reckoned with.
Right.
Miami is Miami, so I mean maybe you're fighting for the second or third spot in the division, and I don't know if that's going to be enough for you to even make the playoffs or make the any type of noise. I think going to Denver would definitely your best pick. Great defense, good organization, running back. You got the Demaryius Thomas. Hopefully they don't trade him or Emmanuel. I think you have your receivers, and I think you're in a perfect situation there. Let's not forget Peyton Manning chose the Broncos over a lot of other places.
Yes, he did.
Even the Cardinals. But, yeah, I agree. The second best one is probably the Cardinals, where he can go and make some noise.
You already know what I think about Cleveland. You stay away from that place. That place is toxic. That's like, you see wet sand in the desert. You got to stay away, man. So you don't go to Cleveland. Miami, I think that would be like a lateral move, kind of like Washington, much like that.
I don't think he's
similar team. I don't think that they, I just think that would be a lateral move. I don't see him going there. Arizona, Denver, good organizations, accustomed to winning. I just think that's the best landing spot for Cousins, who isn't a bad quarterback, better than average, definitely.
Exactly. So, interesting to see what happens with that.
But I was surprised too. I didn't see that one come either, bro. Big trade.
But
just
I'm happy
before the
about
Super
it.
Bowl.
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, if I was a Washington fan, I'd be. That's definitely an upgrade.
All right, moving on to the Super Bowl, as my colleague has said. This Sunday, Patriots, Eagles. I'll be very honest with you. This is the first Super Bowl where, of course, there's some noise about it, but not as much noise as I've seen before. Is it just me, or is it? What do you think about that? Like,
I
it's
agree.
Not
There isn't as much
up.
buzz. There isn't
Yeah.
as much buzz, and my personal belief is because just kind of the way the season went, the latter part of the season, the way the Patriots is. I think everybody knew that they were going to get in there, right?
Yeah.
Especially once Pittsburgh had their struggles. In fact, that game after that, catch, was it a touchdown? Was it not a touchdown? I thought it was a touchdown across the goal with
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh. Ever since after that week, Steven, it's really been pretty clear that New England was going to the Super Bowl and nobody was going to get in their way. I mean, Pittsburgh had a chance. We all really didn't believe that Jacksonville had enough experience, even though they played a hell of a game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't embarrass themselves. I'll say that they played a good game, but we knew that New England was going to move on. And I just think that has a lot to do with why we're not as excited or surprised about the Super Bowl.
I agree. And let's be honest with you. I think going in, I feel like towards the end of the season, people were happy with Philly, but they more wanted to see Wentz in there going against Tom Brady.
Right.
And I think that's maybe what is holding back people. I know I've heard some people say, well, Philly has a great defense and all this kind of stuff. Absolutely, I'm not taking anything away from their defense. I'm taking away from their quarterback. If Wentz was in there, I think they would be a lot more confident. I think they would even maybe be favored or even going to the Super Bowl. And I think it would be something in a sense where people were talking about, like Carson Wentz, the up-and-coming quarterback versus Tom Brady, the old
Yes.
gunslinger,
Well,
whatever.
sure, when Wentz was in there, look, Philadelphia this year was averaging right around 31, 32 points a game. They were very consistent, high-powered offense. He was utilizing his weapons. And Wentz just seems to make the big play and has enough poise. Definitely a better quarterback than Nick Foles, no question. However, Nick Foles has been able to really do a pretty good job. He had that one bad game in Dallas where he threw up a goose egg, no points. But other than that, he's done a pretty good job of putting his team in a position to win.
Absolutely.
And let's face it, I know we fall in love with the quarterback. They're the star. They get a lot of the credit and very often too much of the blame if they lose. But Stephen, Philadelphia is a very well-rounded team. Two good running backs, Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount. All right, three good receivers: Torrey Smith, Alshon Jeffrey, and Nelson Aguilar. I was just taking a look at Nelson Aguilar out of USC. His stats this year: he had 8 touchdowns. He had almost 800 yards receiving, and he caught 62 balls. I mean, that's your second or third option. Not to mention Zach Ertz, very good season.
Absolutely.
Probably the best of his career. So with that being said, and I don't even have to mention about Fletcher Cox on the defensive line. These guys are ready to play. This is a well-rounded football team. This is not going to be a cakewalk for Tom Brady. This game is going to come down to who implements their game plan well and who gets off first. And customarily, New England's been starting their Super Bowls slow. I think of all the Super Bowls they've been in, they never scored in the first quarter. They never scored a touchdown in the first quarter. I got to go back and look at that, but I think that's a legitimate statistic. So they've been known to be slow starters. And, I really believe Nick Foles doesn't have to play a great game. He has to play a good game and not make the big mistake. Keep moving the chains. Keep Brady on the bench. I know I'm saying a lot of stuff that isn't new, but I'm just stating the facts on what I see here. I think Philadelphia has a real chance it's really tangible for them to get away with a victory. It is key. Gronk had a full practice today. It is key that they double team Gronkowski and get to Brady. I mean, that's no question. I know I'm stating the obvious, but they must get to Brady. If they give him time to throw, I mean, the Patriots win a close game. So that defense and double teaming Gronk to me is going to be the keys to victory. And with that being said, folks, I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. Final score, 28-21. They're your Super Bowl champions. My MVP is Alshon Jeffrey.
Wow, that's a very...
You heard it here first.
All right. What you said about the quarterbacks first, I want to start off with that. I think the reason why so many people, Nick Foles is doing a decent job, and he's done a decent job with Carson Wentz. I think he's just had a body of work where he's been inconsistent before, especially this year when he played against Dallas. The big didn't do anything. I know it's the last game of the season, and to tell you the truth, it didn't matter if they really won that game or not. But you kind of want to go into the playoffs on a high note. I think that defense has helped them tremendously against Minnesota and against Atlanta. But even at Atlanta, when they played an okay defense, they really didn't get that far ahead. They had a close game. Luckily, the defense did well. So I think that's why it's always on Nick Foles. What you said about all the Aguilar, Best, Jeffries, Hurts, so defense, the running backs and Blunt and Ajayi, I think those are amazing things. But I think that the thing and reason why people talk about the quarterback is because they still have to throw the ball. They still have to deliver the ball. He still has
to execute, right?
Exactly, and that's the thing where I don't think people have enough confidence in Foles for him to pull out one against, especially someone like the New England Patriots. But I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Philly on this one. I just hate the Patriots so much that I definitely want the Eagles to win a Super Bowl finally. I definitely think those are the big key to the games is getting to Brady. I think the thing with if you get to Brady and he's going to throw the ball, I don't think he has real athletic receivers.
Yes.
Well, what I mean by that, like, Cooks is fast, but is he really athletic? You know what I mean? Like,
he's a go route guy.
Yeah,
he's a post route guy.
Exactly. Or even
drag
route.
Mm-hmm.
And even with Gronkowski, let's be honest. If you throw the ball a little bit, like we've seen in past Super Bowls, you throw it maybe a foot over him. He's not that athletic to turn his body, jump up there, grab it one hand, and come down. He's just had too many injuries, I think. But, I mean, you have to deliver the ball kind of perfect to him, or where can you catch it, and then that's where he's most dangerous. So they can get to Brady. I think that would definitely help them a lot.
There's no question.
Yeah. Offensively, though, what it really needs to happen is their coach needs to just don't stop. If your running game is working against the Patriots, pound that ball, maybe go for a deep pass. But if your running game is not working, but your passing game is going on, if you're up 34-3, you keep passing the ball. If it's a blowout, 56-7, that's what you need to do. Because we've seen it too much, Joey, where people get up and like, okay, let's be conservative. Let's change our game.
You can't be conservative
you
against these guys. They're the best.
Just keep running. Even if you're gaining 5-6 yards,
absolutely,
10 yards, but you're consistently moving the ball. You're in your zone. You're in your, like, don't stop Nick Foles from throwing the ball because you keep handing off the ball. Fourth quarter, all of a sudden the Patriots have made a comeback. You need him to start making throws again. He's cold. You need to just continually go with Philly. And I think Nick Foles is going to have a breakout game. I think it's going to be 35-24 Philly.
35-24 Philly. Wow.
Yeah, I think towards the end you're going to see a turnover or something where that's why it goes over the 35. I can see that happening. Maybe Chris Long gets a strip on Brady, which I think will be ironic, and they take it into the house. That'll make it 35.
Another reason I like Philly, Steven, is New England's defense hasn't been what it used to be. When you say this is one of the weaker defenses we've seen in the past,
absolutely,
out of all those Super Bowl teams,
absolutely,
maybe the weakest now that I think of it.
Yeah, I think
even over last year.
I think all those other defenses
were far superior than this year's.
I wouldn't
defense.
say superior. I think there was that chemistry you talk about. I think where even though they weren't the best players, they had that chemistry. They understood the defensive assignments, and they're willing to execute it. This year, I don't think they had the chemistry. I think sometimes you see just people are just like, hey, you know the play? You sure? You know who you got?
Right.
Like looking back, like, hey, you know what gap to shoot? Okay.
Right.
I just don't see that with the Patriots, and I think that might hurt them defensively. Well, I think they'll score like 20.
I think Foles is going to have time to throw. I really do.
I think so, too. I think that's why he's going to have a good game, where he's going to have that time. You saw what they did against Minnesota's defense. Minnesota's defense is one of the best in the league this year. And so if they can do that and give Foles some times, I think he's going to have another great game.
Yeah, Foles can score. That's one thing he can do.
Yeah, so I mean, he did tie Tom Brady's record, I think it was, or surpassed it that 1 year.
Uh-huh.
Where, not Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. It was Peyton Manning who scored like 5 touchdowns, I think. Foles did that as
Nick
well.
Foles had a 7 touchdown game.
7
That's
touchdown
what it
game.
was. That's what he's best known for.
So he can throw the ball. So
Yeah.
let's go Philly.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. I'm definitely going Philly. You know, I'm going for Philadelphia all the way. I've seen Tom Brady and Belichick enough, and yeah, it's time for some new blood in the NFL. So that would be nice. I'll be watching the game. I'll be putting my picks in, and remember what I said: 28-21 Eagles. Alshon Jeffrey, I think he makes a big touchdown catch in the fourth quarter.
I think the defensive person is going to win this game for
Really, you
Philly.
see a big turnover, maybe a pick or a fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Right.
I see maybe one of the defensive linemen getting it. I think he's going to get maybe a couple sacks on Brady. Just a feeling I have.
Right. Do you think the cold weather might play any kind of? I know it's in a dome, but do you think it's gonna?
I think it does. I think it does.
Right.
And I think Philly's used to the cold. They play outside. That's it's going to be a warm day for them inside. I know Brady didn't play in a cold weather arena too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting.
Brady's 40 though. That cold wind sets in late in that game.
Better stock up on that avocado ice cream, man. Do some TB12 or something. Brady, work on those biceps.
There you go. Let the chef mix it up.
There you go. So.
But yeah, quickly before we end the show here, just wanted to mention I did see some news. You know me, I'm a big fight fan. And it seems like we just can't stop talking about this guy, but when it comes to combat sports, he always gets a lot of attention. He knows how to do it.
Yes, he
I'm
does.
talking about Floyd Money Mayweather.
Gosh.
A couple days ago, Steven, I saw him post on his Twitter where he just had a quick clip of him walking into the octagon.
Yes.
And then today he followed up with a video talking about, what are the odds? What if I did compete in MMA? What are the odds? I think just trying to get buzz and get people interested. And your thoughts on this?
See, Joey, this is making me sick sometimes of Floyd Mayweather, okay? This is little antics that he does. Look, man, you're a 40-something-year-old man or something, okay? You are one of, if not the greatest pound-for-pound boxer
Ever lace up gloves. Yeah.
Ever. I mean, you don't need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't. And let's be honest, Joey. When McGregor was going to fight Floyd, everyone laughed. Yes, it was a joke. It turned out to be a joke, in a sense of McGregor. Floyd just took him apart.
Right.
But let's be honest. In boxing, yeah, he would have gotten knocked out. But let's be honest. And if he steps in the ring in MMA and he fights even someone his size, you will not get only knocked out. You could get seriously hurt.
Seriously hurt.
I mean, you could seriously mess up a shoulder and an arm bar. That might mess up your knee. And especially if this guy does not like you, like how people, don't like Lonzo Ball
because of hurt him because of his mouth. Sure.
Exactly. Patrick Beverly punked Lonzo Ball. It wasn't because Lonzo was talking trash. It was because of his father.
Right.
What's going to happen when? Oh, you talk all that trash now.
Actually,
You want
I see
to
what
come
you're saying.
in?
What do you think's gonna happen to Mayweather?
Exactly. They might fool around. I don't think he's going to get knocked out, but I think he might get choked out or he might tap. I think those are the two things that are going to happen to him. So.
I think Mayweather enjoys being a star, enjoys being the center of attention,
Absolutely,
and he's a money guy, and he enjoys throwing around the possibility of how much money he can make. It's good for his brand. It keeps him relative. He's smart at Super Bowl week. Because I really think, Steven, in all seriousness, he'd be a darn fool to get in the MMA. I agree with you. He'll get seriously hurt. This is not kind of sport you pick up at 40, okay?
Exactly.
If you were taking up golf, man, badminton, something like that, hey, go for it, Floyd. MMA, not so much, guy. It's going to be the same as it was when Conor tried to fight Floyd in his first boxing match, and I talked about it right here on Sniper Sports. You're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get annihilated. You have to have respect for another man's craft.
Exactly.
And with that being said, Floyd has to respect these MMA fighters. And that octagon, it's a whole different fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that they would just rush him and take him to the ground. And like you said, seriously hurt him. So I don't put too much weight in this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I give it about a 2 as far as believability. I think it's just talk right now. And if he were to get in the octagon, I would question how real and how valid that is. Because like I said, that takes time to acquire that skill to fight at a professional level.
Absolutely. I mean, you even see some other people who are considered a joke. CM Punk from the WWE.
Sure.
I mean, and he was at least doing jiu-jitsu on the side for years. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
For
you
a couple
saw
years.
exactly, and you saw what happened to him. You know, at least Brock has some wrestling, so he know how to defend himself. Where some of the people that tried it, you know, I mean Herschel Walker, but he's just a different animal.
Yes.
So I think Floyd, yeah, I totally agree with you. Floyd's just doing this to get, you know,
Sure.
hey, look at me.
Keep his brand relevant. Keep his name
Exactly.
relevant. He loves
You know.
being a star.
Exactly, but hey, if he wants to come back and fight another boxing match, that's awesome. I'll support him. But Floyd, this
Yeah, brother, Floyd, knowing you won, man. You made a bunch of money. You're undefeated. You're one of the best boxers of all time. You're one of my favorite fighters. Man, I just knowing you've won, brother.
Yeah.
Retire, enjoy your money. You know what I mean? Spend
Yeah.
time with your family, your kids. You got your health intact. And
exactly.
you should have enough money. And, you know, hey, I hope
Enjoy
I
it,
see you on
enjoy
at the Warriors and the Lakers games courtside instead of, you know, in an MMA getting in a triangle choke.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, that's all we got for today, folks. We'll be back next week to let you know how the Super Bowl went, let you know how accurate me and Steven were on our picks. And until then,
Catch you later.
all right.